Respiration. Respiration is a process by which oxygen reaches the body cells and is utilized by them in metabolism, and carbon dioxide formed as a waste product gets eliminated. The real function of respiration is to provide the energy needed by body cells. Cells obtain energy by metabolizing glucose, utilizing oxygen. Hence, they require constant supply of oxygen. In addition, the waste product of the metabolic process, namely carbon dioxide, must be carried away from the cells. The transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide between lungs and body cells take place by an efficient cardiovascular system. Process of pulmonary respiration. Respiration includes several processes which are listed below. Ventilation is the breathing in of air with more oxygen into lungs. Inspiration, it is followed by expulsion of air with more of carbon dioxide. Expiration, diffusion of oxygen from the alveoli into the blood inside surrounding capillaries. Transport of oxygen by the blood to the heart through the pulmonary vein, distribution of oxygen by various arteries and their capillary network to all cells of the body as the blood passes through tissue capillaries. It gives up oxygen and nutrients such as glucose to the body tissues and picks up the waste products of cellular respiration, carbon dioxide and water. Exchange of the oxygen and carbon dioxide between the blood and the body cells. Within body cells, glucose and oxygen take part in a complex series of reactions which provide energy to power the cell. During this cellular respiration. Glucose is converted to carbon dioxide and water enzymatic oxidation. Transporting blood with carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is carried back in the blood to the heart, then to the lungs, where it diffuses into the alveoli and is breathed out of the body. External respiration, exchanging of carbon dioxide with oxygen at the alveolar surface. Expiration of air with carbon dioxide from the lungs. Mechanism of breathing. The process of inspiration and expiration happens due to pressure changes in the thoracic cavity. The thorax is an airtight compartment bounded by the sternum in front, the vertebral column at the back, the ribs encircling the sides, and the diaphragm found below. The rib bones are provided with the two sets of muscles, namely external and internal intercostal muscles. By the contraction and expansion of these muscles, the volume of the thoracic cavity is reduced or increased. The floor of the thoracic cavity is completely closed by the diaphragm. The act of breathing is performed by expansion and contraction of the thoracic cavity. Inspiration. Inspiration is the process by which fresh air is drawn into the lungs. It is an active process. The muscle participating in the inspiration process are external intercostal muscles present in between the ribs and the diaphragm. During quiet respiration, contraction of external intercostal muscle causes the ribs to move anteriorly and outwardly. This movement enlarges the cavity of the thorax by increasing its side to side and in dorsoventral dimensions. The contraction of radial muscles of the diaphragm leads to flattening of an elastic dome-shaped central part of the diaphragm. As a result of these muscular movements, the volume of the thoracic cavity is increased. This causes the air pressure within the lungs to fall below the atmospheric pressure, so tidal air from outside passes through the air passage into the lungs to equalize the pressure. Expiration. Inspiration is followed by expiration. It is a passive process. Expiration is the process by which air is exhaled or blown out by the lungs. Expiration results when the volume of thoracic cavity is decreased and air pressure in the lung is increased. Expiration process involves the following movements. The diaphragm relaxes and rises to resume the original dome shape. The ribs take their original position as a result of contraction of the internal intercostal muscles. Gaseous exchange in the alveoli. Once the air is within the lungs, the process of gaseous exchange begins. Capillaries of pulmonary artery remains close to the wall of the alveoli. This enhances the exchange of gases. Oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged across the alveolar membrane by diffusion from the site of high to low partial pressure until the partial pressure of two regions are equal. This process is a simple physical one which does not involve any secretory or active transport mechanism. In the atmospheric air, there is high concentration of oxygen, 20 to 95%, CO2, 140 mmHg, while the proportion of carbon dioxide is low, 0.04%. The alveolar PO2 is about 100 mmHg and the PO2 of venous blood is about 40 mmHg. This pressure gradient is sufficient for the transfer of O2 and PCO2 of venous blood 46 mmHg, and that of alveolar air is only 6 mmHg, 1 over 10 of O2. It is adequate for CO2 transfer by diffusion. CO2 diffuses 20 times faster than O2. Regulation of respiration. In the brain, the medulla oblongata contains a respiratory center. This controls breathing. The respiratory center consists of an inspiratory center and an expiratory center. Axons from the nerve cells of these centers lead to intercostal muscles through the intercostal nerves and the diaphragm, where the phrenic nerves. These nerve fibers transmit impulses to the external intercostal muscles and internal intercostal muscles alternately. The walls of the alveoli have sense endings which are stimulated by changes in the tension of alveolar walls. When the alveoli are stretched at the height of inspiration, receptor and stimuli to the expiratory center of the medulla through the vagus nerve which inhibit further inspiration. This sequence of is called hearing. In addition, the medulla contains a pneumotoxic center which is connected to the breathing center. Rhythmic breathing during inspiration. The inspiratory part of the respiratory center sends impulses to the pneumotoxic center, which respond by sending impulses to the respiratory part of respiratory center. Respiratory center is then activated, and so the respiratory center is inhibited reflexively. Respiratory rhythm is controlled in this manner by the center. And